The Sims 2 always gets praised for being a Sims title with the best storyline. What is often overlooked, however, is that out of the 6 Max's neighborhoods, only Strangetown and Pleasantview have abundant lore, and the stories going on in the remaining 4 hoods can be described as mediocre at best. Greetings to everyone! My name is Nadia, you're on my channel called Betty Neddy, and today I'm going to talk about Riverblossom Hills. This is not a neighborhood review like the ones I did for Pleasantview and Strangetown. Today I'm doing more of a lore theory kind of video. I know, Riverblossom Hills and lore put in one sentence even sound hilarious, because for this neighborhood Maxis didn't come up with anything better than simply reusing Pleasantview's storyline, or at least its characters. According to the Sims Wiki, the Roth family is based on the Goths from Pleasantview. Leod McGregor is a representation of Don Lothario, the one household is based on the Caliente sisters. Wait, what? I've mentioned in my video about woohooing with 20 different Sims that the neighborhood I played in the most was Riverblossom Hills. And for me it had always been pretty clear that the local Caliente sisters were Betty Goldstein and Catherine Viejo. Yes, the grannies. And before I prove my take to you, let's see why Leod McGregor is considered to be the local Don Lothario and why I believe this is absolutely fair. And no, I don't think the Roth household even needs to be discussed. They're such an obvious parody of the Goth, even their house looks identical to the Goth manor. So yes, back to Leod McGregor. What makes him a travesty of Don Lothario? First of all, what do we know about Don? First, he's a young bachelor living on his own. Second, he works in the medical career. Third, he aspires for romance. Additionally, he's very outgoing and seems to be a kind of Sim that would enjoy clubbing. Next, he is engaged to Cassandra Goth, and he also previously attempted to make out with Cassandra's mother, Bella. And finally, he's a womanizer who is cheating on his fiancée with 3 different female Sims. Now to Don's version from Riverblossom Hills. Leod McGregor is also a bachelor living on his own, although he is not as young as Don. Additionally, Leod is not employed in any career track, but he owns a farm. Interestingly enough, it's often believed in the Sims 2 community that Don's parents were doctors. That's why he chose medicine as his occupation, and Leod's bio says he comes from a long line of farmers. Unlike Don, Leod aspires for fortune. He is quite shy, and the family bio suggests that he prefers plants to real Sims. So it's no wonder that he doesn't have any kind of romantic relationships going on, although the pictures in his photo album indicate he's pretty popular with the local females. 3 ladies have a little crush on him. The original Don is romantically involved with 4 women, but Sandra Roth from Riverblossom Hills is only a teenager, so she isn't interested in Leod. And yet it's curious to note that this farmer is turned on by blonde hair, and both Sandra and her mother Stella are blondes, which sort of implies that Leod can potentially get way too friendly with them. Especially when Stella's bio says she misses interesting people around. So basically, Leod is Don's opposite. They are both bachelors, but while outgoing and romance-aspired Don hunts ladies himself, shy and quiet Leod is the one who's being hunted. Now we'll gather all the information on the Calientes and then compare it with Cleo Shikibu and Patricia 1 stories, as they are believed to be based on Dina and Nina. First, Dina and Nina are obviously sisters. They're twins, to be more precise. Second, they live together but don't have the strongest relationship. Third, neither of them is employed. Nina has recently got fired, and Dina is a gold digger who's never worked a day in her life. Dina aspires for fortune, Nina is a romance sim. Dina is playful and lazy, while Nina is serious and active. Both sisters are romantically involved with Don Lothario. Dina is also in a relationship with Mortimer Goth, who she is vaguely related to, being his wife's ex-sister-in-law. And yes, Dina is Michael Bachelor's widow, but she never had any kids with him. Finally, both sisters are on quite friendly terms with Brandy Broke, who is slightly older than them. In the one household we have two best friends, not sisters. Both Cleo and Patricia are employed and doing pretty well in their careers, especially Cleo, who even qualifies for a career reward. Cleo is fortune aspiration like Dina, but Patricia is popularity, which isn't true for Nina. Both friends have pretty balanced personalities, but Cleo is more playful and Patricia is more serious, which is also true for the respective Calientes. Cleo and Patricia have different romantic interests. Cleo has a crush on Leod McGregor, while her friend is seeing Gabo Mackey. Neither of the two friends has an additional relationship with another man, and they don't even know Morty Roth, leave alone being related to him. Neither of them was married, and they don't have any other female friends. Honestly, sometimes I feel like there are only two reasons to believe Cleo and Patricia might represent the Calientes. They are young, and the interior in their house resembles the Calientes' condo. Yes, Cleo is playful like Dina and Patricia is serious like Nina, but with most facts being totally off, such personality points distribution looks more like a coincidence to me. Meanwhile, let's examine the grannies from the Viejo household. Betty and Catherine are also not related to each other. They are best friends living with their deceased friend's son and grandson. They are both employed but never made much progress in their jobs. This makes Betty dream about marrying a rich sim, like it was in Dina's case. Here I'd like to note that Cleo Shikibu achieved everything herself and isn't interested in marrying rich. Next, Betty Goldstein aspires for fortune and Catherine Viejo aspires for romance. There is nothing special in the granny's personality points, but they both have a crush on Leod McGregor, and Betty also happens to be Morty Roth's cousin. Additionally, one of the grannies was married before. It's Catherine, the romance sim, and she never had any children with her deceased husband. Finally, both Betty and Catherine were best friends with Linda Martin, who's already passed away, which suggests she was the oldest of the trio. And this still isn't everything that can be said about Betty and Catherine. For example, Catherine's fitness level indicates she should be fit, and we all know that Nina Caliente really likes working out. Moreover, according to the Viejo's family album, Catherine was a big fan of the color pink when she was an adult, and her friend Betty was wearing a glamorous dress with a very low neckline, and she was also dyeing her hair blonde. Besides, Betty's last name is Goldstein, which starts with gold, like gold digger, and Catherine's last name Viejo means old in Spanish, while Caliente means hot. From hot to old, what an irony! There are basically only three differences between the Calientes and the Riverblossom Hills grannies. Catherine and Betty are old, not young, they have a strong relationship with each other, and it's Catherine, not Betty, who's a widow. Now the question is, if Betty Goldstein and Catherine Viejo are a parody of the Caliente sisters, who are Patricia 1 and Cleo Shikibu then? Well, any ideas? I mean, Patricia 1 looks like Mary Sue Pleasant, who's returned from her vacation on Twiki Island with some tan and makeup on. Additionally, her personality is nearly identical to Mary Sue's, and she isn't involved with the local Don Lothario, but focused on another man instead. What I find ironic here is that Mary Sue from Pleasantview is super career-oriented and yet completely unsuccessful. Patricia seems to be more laid back, and yet her working situation is better than Mary Sue's. The original Mary Sue is married with 2 teenage daughters. Patricia 1 isn't married, not just yet, but she fully repeats Mary Sue's conflict with Lilith, in which the woman hates her own innocent daughter. In Patricia's case, the conflict is reversed. It's Patricia's boyfriend's daughter who hates her future stepmother for literally no reason. As you understand, I do believe Gabe O'Mackey is the local Daniel Pleasant. In Pleasantview, Daniel is very attractive and much more successful than his wife. In Riverblossom Hills, Gabe almost looks like a loser next to his girlfriend. Daniel Pleasant is on a very high position in his athletic career. He can even be considered a celebrity in his neighborhood. But Gabe O'Mackey is a humble school teacher, and even his own daughter is embarrassed by this fact. By the way, in Pleasantview, Daniel barely took any part in his daughter's upbringing, while Gabe taught his daughter Jules how to talk and is currently raising her as a single parent and seems to be trying his best. Finally, in Pleasantview, Daniel cheats on his wife and basically dumps her, while in Riverblossom Hills, Gabe is the one who got dumped by his wife Alexandra. Just like Leod McGregor is Don's opposite, Gabe is Daniel's. While discussing Patricia 1's personal life, we completely forgot about Cleo Shikibu. Who does she represent? Remember her crushing on Leod McGregor alongside Betty Goldstein and Catherine Viejo? Looks like Cleo is the local Kaylin Langerak the maid. Instead of being hated by Mary Sue for stealing her husband, she is literally besties with Patricia and barely knows Gabe. Additionally, she is no longer a damsel in distress with no family and a tiny salary. Cleo Shikibu is a girl boss who owns a beautiful house, makes very good money, and has a loving aunt. While Pleasantview Kaylin was falling in love with wrong man in hopes to get rescued, Cleo Shikibu doesn't need a man at all. She is doing just fine on her own. I also noticed that both ladies wear the same lipstick and have similarly sounding first names. Now we'll analyze the other Riverblossom Hills characters. Just the way Daniel Pleasant from Pleasantview has a younger sibling, Jennifer Burb, who's not only super attractive but also doesn't really look like her brother, Gabe O'Mackey has a younger sibling too, another nerdy-looking guy who resembles Gabe a lot. Just like Jennifer's last name is different from her brother's, Jason, Gabe's brother, isn't O'Mackey either. He took his wife's last name and he's Greenman now. As you can get, Rose Greenman, Jason's wife, is the local John Burb. And this is really iconic and 100% fitting, because John is known for being a stay-at-home dad who is obsessed with gardening. In Riverblossom Hills, he is a plant sim housewife who's recently had a daughter Daisy, and Jason isn't even considered to be her father. Sounds very similar to Jennifer's coolish relationship with Lucy, right? Those were the Sims that I'm pretty much 100% certain about. But now we'll have to dive into the realm of obscurity, because Andrew and Jacob Martin, as well as Jules and Alexandra O'Mackey, seem to be more ambiguous. The Sims Wiki claims Andrew and Jacob are the local dreamers, and this is of course well spot on, with Andrew being a widower with a teenage son. But let's not forget that Andrew's mother Linda was based on Brandy Brook, which makes him the local Dustin instead of Darren. And in such a case, Jacob turns from Dirk into Bo? It's really hard to tell with these two. Another factor that makes Andrew and Jacob more Brook-like in my head is that they live in a very spacious house, which by the looks of it they are going to inherit, because Betty doesn't have any close relatives, and Catherine's only relative is Cleo, who's already got her aunt's house. The Viejo's house is definitely a huge jump from the Brooks' cramped trailer. As for Jules and her mother Alexandra, I tend to think the former is Lilith Pleasant and the latter is Angela Pleasant. Jules had been dating Jacob Martin, the local Dirk Dreamer, until he got stolen from her by the girl with a goth-like appearance, Sandra Roth. I believe it's easier to imagine Lilith and Cassandra being mentioned in the same context. Angela and Cassandra definitely come from different planets. Also, there is this conflict with her future stepmother. While it's mentioned in the Mackey's family bio that Jules and Patricia have a lot in common, and this is also the case for Mary Sue and Lilith. It also seems that Jules was really upset when her mother left their family, and this is really funny considering the fact that in Pleasantview, Angela and Lilith hate each other and would do anything for the opportunity to forget about each other's existence. Why do I think Alexandra Mackey represents Angela Pleasant? Mostly because of Angela's bio, where it's mentioned that she dreams of being a fishing boat captain. Alexandra Mackey is a dread pirate, so we can basically say Angela's dreams came true. Additionally, Angela is described as patient and dutiful, and Alexandra is nothing like that at all. The woman pursues the wind and even left her little daughter with a light heart. Finally, both Jules and Alexandra are redheads with popularity aspiration. Who else can be the Pleasant twins in Riverblossom Hills if not them? And this is it! We've analyzed all the characters from Riverblossom Hills, one of the least popular neighborhoods in The Sims 2. Perhaps it can be saved and enjoyed if we attempt to fully roleplay Pleasantview characters with their clones. For example, by making Stella Roth disappear and forcing her daughter Sandra into an engagement to Leod McGregor. But I still believe that the lore and the characters in Riverblossom Hills would be much better if they weren't copied from another hood. Anyway, that's all for today's video. Write in the comments if you agree with my analysis of the Riverblossom Hills Sims, and if you think the Sims Wiki needs an update in this regard. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time.